Today we have the 4th episode of Rag Audibles Podcast, brought to you by Pawpaws Campers and Cars. I'm your host, Pearson Lussey, and head LSU football coach Brian Kelly said that 5-star cornerback Denver Harris is still on the team and has not been kicked off as of today. He missed 3 practices and the team pictures, and there were reports that he was no longer a Tiger, but that's not the case. We also have things on defensive tackle Mason Smith coming back from injury, updates on how good Malik Nabers is, and what the running back room actually looks like. We also give you updates and details on what the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft did in his latest start. We have the breakdown of what has happened and what will be happening over these 6 straight days of LSU fall camp. And later in the show, we'll be joined by TigerRag.com editor Todd Horn, who has attended all the fall practices so far. So we have a direct insight of the Tigers practice. You definitely do not want to miss what we have covered ahead of the LSU's first game of the year in Orlando, Florida. But how are you going to get there? Baton Rouge to Florida is a long drive, so make sure to make the drive easier for you and your friends and family by going to Pawpaws Campers and Cars. They have all different types of RVs, travel trailers, and other vehicles to choose from. So if you're going on the long journey to represent the purple and gold in enemy territory, they have you covered. If you want more information, go to pawpawsrvs.com or call them at 1-800-728-CAMP. Once again, that is 1-800-728-CAMP. That's a good RV, Pawpaw.
People come from everywhere to Pawpaws Campers and Cars.
Only Pawpaws Campers and Cities, Pawpaws Campers and Cars of people.
And we're gonna let it go for I forgot.
Take the whole family over to pick you. We got something for you. All right. What else we gonna say?
PawpawsNicePrice.com.
That's probably all we need to say.
Back from the break, we have Tiger Rag editor Todd Horn joining us. Todd, how are you doing?
I'm still hot, man.
Still hot outside?
Yeah, I wore these long sleeves things because it was supposed to make it cooler outside, some kind of insulation type of deal. It doesn't work.
That's unfortunate. It's still going to get hot. It's apparently going to get back to triple digits.
Yeah, there was a cold front, they said, right?
Cool front? Like it was just...
Yeah, well, all right. Anyway.
Well, before I ask you another question, let's hear what Brian Kelly said on this situation with Denver Harris.
Denver is handling some personal matters, and if he takes care of everything, could have him back this weekend.
So first things first, okay? All the Baton Rouge media and other media, not all the Baton Rouge media, but the Baton Rouge media that for the past 2 days prior to today, whenever Denver Harris didn't show up in the team picture and wasn't at practice the past 2 days, should be ashamed of themselves for reporting all kinds of miscellaneous information about Denver Harris being kicked off the football team and blah, 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 and all that. Having said that, Brian Kelly tells us right now there was an issue. He was not specific what the issue was, but it's obviously not a big issue as long as Denver Harris takes care of everything. We should see him on the football field on Saturday.
So, do you think this is a big deal? Just in the long run?
I think it was typically blown out of proportion. I think there was something that happened. More than likely, Denver Harris missed a team meeting or was late for a team meeting, and no one has told me that.
Just what you're thinking?
But that's what I think. I think he might have been a minute late for a team meeting, and so he got punished, or maybe he had a bad attitude about it. I'm completely conjecture. And so they were like, okay, cool off, take a few days to cool off or what have you. And Kelly probably gave him a couple of things he needs to do to earn his way back into good stead so he can get back on the practice field. I fully expect Denver Harris will be on the practice field on Saturday whenever the Tigers are scrimmaging.
Well, the team is definitely better when he's on the field. And going back to LSU baseball 2023, they're still national champions. Paul Skenes just pitched in a single-A debut.
They're still the national champions?
They're still the national champions.
Damn.
Well, we'll tell you first things first. He pitched 16 pitches in his debut in his first inning, and he had 11 strikes, and he struck out 2 batters. And then I'm starting to think he might get in the majors pretty soon with what I've been hearing.
Well, that's what I've heard too. I heard that he may have one more start at the single-A team that he's playing for, and don't hold me to the name of it because I don't know, and I don't have it in front of me right now. But I heard that maybe one more start, and then they're going to elevate him again. So I guess that would be to Double-A. But
I wouldn't be surprised at this point if you're getting 100 miles an hour. Like you don't get that if you're in Single-A ball. Like so, he's gonna work up pretty quickly, I think.
Well, he did. The first batter last night did get a hit on the first pitch, if I'm not mistaken. Slapped a single, so at least he proved he's mortal. But turned around and he showed it last night. He showed a variety of pitches. He showed his 100-mile-per-hour fastball. He showed his 84-mile-per-hour slider, and struck out 2, and then got to third out with a runner in scoring position, so he remained scoreless. So good for Paul Skenes.
Yeah, good for him. So back to LSU football and who's on the practice field. We've been trying to get some a status on Mason Smith after he went down on in Saturday's practice, and he was on the ground. You said for 5 minutes.
I'm estimating. I didn't have a watch on. I didn't have my cell phone out with me. What happened was towards the end of practice on Saturday in 11-on-11 drills, he went down, and he was down for several minutes. And they got up on his own power and walked off the field with some assistance gingerly, and appeared to be favoring his right leg. And of course, we'll find out that everybody was immediately concerned that it was a re-injury of his ACL injury that kept him out last year. That's not the case, and apparently, as we speculated, LSU was just being a little precautious, exercising extra caution. We'll find out it was a totally different leg and not a big deal.
Yeah. So did you think when he was down, at least for those several minutes, did you think it was like, oh man, this might be long term again? Like was that on the mind? Of course.
I mean, because you don't know. I mean, I think that's human nature.
Yeah.
You just expect the worst, right?
Well, it's like this is a guy that's had injury problems before, so wouldn't be surprised if maybe this is a re-aggravation.
Yeah, I don't know if he's had. I mean, obviously he's had a major injury, but I don't know if he's had other injuries in his career. I'm not sure about that. I just know that he's such a major part of the LSU's defensive front seven and the defensive line, and he's such a game changer that it was just like, oh no. And obviously everyone was concerned about that.
Yeah.
LSU didn't update us. Now, what was odd is in the press conference on Saturday following practice, there was no mention made of it. And when asked, they just said, we don't know yet.
Well, Kelly finally addressed that when he talked to the media on Wednesday, and he said how Mason's doing and if this is going to be a long-term thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, he's been banged up a little bit. Nothing that, I think we're overly concerned with. There's no structural damage to any joints or, things of that nature. But, look, he's been out for a year, and everything hurts a little bit more after coming back into it. But, we got to be careful with him.
So back to the guys on the field, Malik Nabers has been having a great camp. Todd, you've already said that to me that he's the best wide receiver in the country. What do you think on him?
Well, I do think, I talked to Malik earlier before practice started. I had a long conversation with him in an interview for the Tiger Rag preseason football guide, which, by the way, is on newsstands right now. And you can also look at our digital copy, which is really cool. It's got every bit of the content. You can even listen to articles. It's at tigerrag.com. You can't miss it. Go there and just click on it. You do have to sign up for it, but it is free. So much for the plug. But anyway, I talked to Malik Nabers. Had a very, very, very long conversation with him, very enjoyable conversation. He's such a unique individual in the way he thinks. He's got, I'll give you a couple of examples. Number one, I talked to him about LSU being wide receiver U, and I just, I imagined that he talked to all kinds of, like to Justin Jefferson, to Jamar Chase, maybe to Odell Beckham, any of the past receivers that LSU's, produced through the years. And he said, no, he's never had any conversations with any of them.
So he's just his own guy.
He's his own guy. A second example is oftentimes you'll talk to whether they're college football players or college athletes or even pro athletes. And you'll talk about, well, you're all conference, or you're preseason all conference, or you're supposed to, you're ranked second in this category by Pro Football Focus. And that's what it was with Malik. Malik entered the season ranked as the number 2 wide receiver in the country in college football, according to Pro Football Focus. I was talking to him about that, and I asked him, and I expected he would say, yeah, that I don't pay attention to stuff like that. None of that stuff matters to me. He goes, let me tell you, Mr. Todd, he said, I pay attention to every single thing that's said about me, that's where I'm ranked, and whatever it is, because I want to know, and I want to be number 1.
Do you think he's going to listen to this?
Yes, of course I think he's listening to this, but he's going to listen to this. But my point is that he has a different mindset than your typical athlete. You don't hear that type of discussion. And I think when we listen to what Brian Kelly's talking about, we're going to see that he's sort of talking about him being a different mentality, and that he had certain mental things, challenges that all athletes have, that he didn't quite know how to deal with in the past mentally.
But it's not necessarily about like talent or performance anymore.
He's one of the most supremely talented wide receivers we've seen in a long time, and we knew that from the very first time he walked on the field at LSU, if not before. But apparently, just go ahead and play the clip, because Kelly, I think, characterizes it real well.
So here's what Kelly had to say on Malik.
I think it's his mindset. His skill level has always been there. When I talk about his mindset, it's his ability to come out every single day and maintain his emotions and really focus on what's important.
So that's enough from the wide receivers. What about the running back room? What does that look like? Apparently there are so many on the team, but we don't see them all. And there's 8 apparently, but sometimes there's not 8, and a lot less than that. What have you seen?
I've seen a lot of Noah Cain for the last week. He's the transfer from Penn State who garnered a lot of playing time last year. Of course, Josh Williams ended up being what you would ended the season as being the starter and LSU's leading rusher, other than Jaden Daniels, who was the overall team leading rusher. But apparently Noah Cain has gained a little weight, changed a little bit of his body, allocation, ever how you want to say that, and apparently has increased his speed. There's a report that he was clocked at running 22 miles per hour during preseason. That came from one of the players here at practice. There's been a lot of, soft tissue, nagging injuries to a lot of those running backs. We've seen Josh Williams, Logan Diggs, the transfer from Notre Dame. We've seen Armani. We've seen several of them that are off on another practice field riding bikes and running, jogging and doing things like that, but not taking part in drills. It's been that way for about a week now. So we're not seeing a lot of the 8 running backs. We're only seeing 3 or 4.
So here's what Kelly has to say on that, because he went into what the team is going to look like with the running back situation right now.
And I think you guys have been out here at times where, we've only had 4 running backs that were actually healthy at one time. So even with the number, the number of 8 sounds, crazy. There's the natural, wear and tear on backs that, we want to keep them healthy. And so where I think that real advantage is that we can keep these guys fresh throughout the entire season.
So 8 running backs, a lot of depth. Is that going to be, you're going to have a couple workhorses, and then it's everyone else that's is going to be fighting for that 3rd spot?
Well, I think they're going to have 4 healthy running backs at all times. And I think what Kelly's saying here is that he feels like the last week or so is kind of representative of what it's going to be like during the season. But if you're looking at a depth chart, which there is no depth chart.
You made that clear. No depth chart yet.
No depth chart yet. And but today it would be Noah Cain would be number one. If they were playing Florida State tomorrow, Noah Cain would be the starting running back.
Is that what you think, or is that just like from what you've seen in first-team reps?
He's been running first-team reps for most of the last week.
Yeah. So we'll see how the team does against Florida State and on the scrimmage on Saturday. But before we talk anymore, we're going to take a quick break. But before you go, if you haven't already checked on Pawpaw's Campers and Cars, make sure to go to www.pawpawsrvs.com or call them at 1-800-728-CAMP.
Hey neighbors, we're not that far from where you are. Make that short drive to Pawpaw's Campers in Picayune and see our Wildwood, Catalina, Sportsman, and Zinger trailer lines and our Rockwood and Heritage Glen fifth wheel lines. From Houma to Hammond, Biloxi to Jackson, and Mobile and Pensacola, we're not that far from where you are. Come and see us.
You're gonna love the way we deal. Pawpaw's Camper City and Picayune. You're gonna love the way we deal.
LSU men's basketball might not be playing their typical schedule, but they have been playing some games. They recently just finished off a 3-game trip in the Bahamas, and we were able to talk to Coach Matt McMahon about that. And he gave us an update on how they did, and if you want to check that out, you can always go to the Tiger Rag radio show that just happened on Tuesday. And he gave us an update on Jalen Cook, the guard. Cook was on the LSU team from 2020 to 2021. And he had a good season, but then he transferred to Tulane for 2 years, but now he's back with the Tigers, and McMahon gave an update on him.
Yeah, I wish I had a final answer for you. We're moving forward with plans of him being cleared and ready to go, but there is a NCAA waiver process that he has to go through as a two-time transfer, even though it is only a guy who's been returning to his original school. So we're hopeful to get good news on that, but there, in typical NCAA fashion, has not been a quick resolution yet.
And so if you want to know more about the full interview from McMahon, you can always go check that out on the Tiger Rag radio show. We want to thank everyone for joining us today and Todd Horn for coming back on the Tiger Rag Audibles podcast, brought to you by Pawpaw's Campers and Cars. Campers and RVs. We should be back on Friday for a preview of the inter-squad scrimmage at Tiger Stadium on Saturday, and we'll have all the details on that. Make sure to go to TigerRag.com for more information on LSU football and other sports, and to check for new episodes of the Tiger Rag Audibles podcast. We will see you next time.